The following program was produced by an independent community producer. The opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of the ECAT staff or board of directors.
Karen Miranda. Welcome to Whispers from the Otherside. We are coming to you live from ECAT TV, Channel 9 in Eastern Massachusetts. The lines are now open, so if you want a phone call from your loved one on the other side, feel free to call. Or if you want to discuss anything that has to do with mediumship. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share something with you guys tonight that I thought of at home today when I was unpacking groceries. Was sometimes people have asked me, do you ever have a trauma happen and that triggered the mediumship off? Yes, it can. When you have a trauma happen, it opens a door. Yeah, and what was I gonna say was what happened with me is I had to go for testing in the hospital. You guys know how loud MRIs are at home. It was, really loud and all that stuff. And all of a sudden I started hearing this voice say to me, stick with me, kid. And I'm like looking around, all right, not right now, but I just wanted to get through the testing. But I said to myself, you know what, I'm not going to fight it. I just said, stick with me, kid. So when the testing was done, I waited outside for my husband at the time to come get me, and he came and got me, and we went to my mother's house in Norwood, Massachusetts, and we got there, and I was, she's not open because of how she was brought up with the Irish Catholic, and that's her free will. And so I said to her, I got something to talk to you about. And she said, what? I said, did you ever know somebody who said, stick with me, kid? And she just looked at me. And she said, who have you been talking to? I said, nobody. And I said to her, it just came in very loud and very clear. And I just had to tell you. And she said, years ago, when we were out walking, my brother, Uncle Charlie, he said to me, look at me. He looked at me. He said, stick with me, kid. And she just looked at me. She said, oh my God, you weren't even born then. And I said, no, fool. And when she continued to talk to me, to tell me about giving me the information, I was very thankful, because something happens with the trauma to your body. It can happen sometimes and can trigger off the mediumship, or, for you to be gifted if you weren't before. And I just wanted to share that with you, because she said, looked at me and she said, this is what happened. I don't want to talk about it again. I said, okay, because she has her beliefs, with being brought up Roman Catholic. So I said to her, that's okay. I'm, okay with that. And so I never till this day, I never brought it up. But what else happened to me when I was having in the hospital, it was just a day testing type of thing. And it was when the Grateful Dead were in town, so that was a long time ago. And I was in there looking at my baby at the time. She was only like 6 months old. And I was watching. I said, well, I want to be able to do the Itsy Bitsy Spider with you again. And I said to her, that'll be wonderful. And then all of a sudden, this voice came to me, and he said, "Pray, pray, pray." And I'm like, "Okay, pray to the Sacred Heart of Jesus." I said, all right. I can look. I'm looking around the room, saying, "All right, yeah, no one's here." And I said to myself, "All right." I accepted it, and I knew who the voice was though that I was hearing. So when I got home, I called my late aunt up, and I said to her, I go, "I have something to ask you. Did Uncle Larry ever say, 'Pray to the Sacred Heart, pray to the Sacred Heart of Jesus'?" She went, "Oh my God," she said to me. She said, "Your uncle used to say that to me all the time." So I was like, "All right, that's okay." I just wanted to let you know he sent it his love from above, into heavens. And I said to her, I go, if I have any more questions, can I call you? She said, "Yeah." So when this was all going on, I'm like, I wanted to need to know what else was going on, and if anyone else in the gift had the family in the gift. So when I started, I was saying to myself, I went to I didn't know who else I could call, because my aunt was busy, and she told me all of that side, but I needed to know about my dad's side of the family. And come to find out, when I was talking to my aunt, my grandmother was a healer. She made all the old-fashioned concoctions that you make for all the healing remedies. So I was like, that was so cool. And I thanked her for sharing that, because, you didn't talk about things. And even in the 70s, it wasn't always open. So I said to myself, that was really cool to finding out about my relatives, because on my, not to switch gears, but I'm gonna switch gears with you guys, is what was I gonna say was my aunt. I called her up, and then I said to her, I go, "What about who else had the gift?" She said, "Well, your grandmother had the psychic end of it." So I said, "Oh, all right. That's interesting to know." So when she told me, I was just really listening. She said what she used to do is she used to take down notes and fold them up, because she didn't talk about things. And this was in the 60s, okay? And so I said, all right. And she said to me, it would be like a year or two later, she saw one of her old notes she wrote down. She said, "Oh my goodness." And she said, this happened. And it was during one of the wars. And one of my uncles was on a boat, and it tipped a little bit. And she knew something was going to happen, but she was just glad he was okay. And I just wanted to share that with you guys. So if you have something happen, and it is true, everything will shift gears, and things like that. So when that happened, I said to myself, I thanked my aunt. And it's really weird, because you learn not to question it as long as it's from the highest and best. So it was strange, because one night I remember going to bed, and all of a sudden I woke up from a sound sleep hearing my name, Karen. Okay, and I looked up, and there was nobody there. And I was like, oh my goodness, if this is you, Uncle Larry, go to Auntie Anna. Oh, and I said, that I would be very much thank you if you did that for me and for her, because she really missed her husband. They were married for like years. And I I went back to bed, said my prayers, and went back to sleep. And I got up and got the kids off to school. And I said to my ex-husband at the time, my ex-husband, now ex-husband, I said, I'm going to call Aunt Yana up. He said, okay, I'm going off to work. See ya. I said, have a good day. And then I got the phone and I, called her. And she said, Karen, I'm so glad you called. And I said, oh, why? Because she said to me, she goes, something happened last night to me. It was about 3 a.m. And I heard your uncle's voice. And I said, oh, wow. She said to me, all he said was Elena, her first name. But that was enough to give her peace and comfort. And that's what this is all about. It's about healing, for closure, whatever you're looking for in your reading. So I said to her, I thanked her, and then I told her what I did afterwards. And I was like, oh boy. The other thing I want to talk about too is, now that I filled you in on a little bit, find out your family history. Because if you're gifted, there's chances are there's somebody else, like a mother or a father, or even a relative who is gifted. And as long as it's from the highest and best and good, coming from a good place, they'll be open to answer. Not everybody, because of that generation. And I just wanted to share that little part with you. The next thing I want to talk to you about is spirit children. They are not alone. They are not alone on the other side. I have to let you guys know that. And they will come back, for messages. Because I can remember one time when I was visiting my neighbor next door. This little girl, I felt this little girl's energy. I didn't see her or anything like that, but it just felt very strong. And I said to my neighbor, could you understand this little girl with the ponytail? I'm feeling her. Because he knew I was a medium. And he said, yes, I did. And I said, thank you. And I gave him the information, and then he was like so happy. And I said, thank you very much. I had to get home because I knew the kids were coming home from school. So a couple of days went by, and then I said, I got to go back to my neighbor's house. So I said, everybody was not home again. And I said, I had everything done. So I said, I'm going to get my stuff. And I went over, and he was home. I knocked on his door. And I said to my neighbor, I know she came through again, the little girl. And I said to him, she has another message for you. And he said, what's that? He just got all excited. I said, she's saying to say happy birthday. And he was so happy. He could take all the information. Sometimes I'll see birthday cakes or roses. To me, that symbolizes that their birthday is, coming or has passed or on that even day. So when I saw that, I had to give it to him, and I was so happy just to see someone smile and knowing that the loved one is okay and they're not alone. They're not alone. There's another time I can remember going to Maine that summer, and all of a sudden I was out with my older daughter, Melissa, and I looked over and I saw the water. And I said, all of a sudden I saw the spirit energy. I said, do you see that? She goes, Ma, I don't see what you see. But it was like an abundance of energy. And I said, oh, I'm so bummed out. We were leaving tomorrow because wanted to find out who it was. And so she said, well, always next year. That's what I said. And so I said, all right. So, you have to learn to let things go when things come in, because it's not about me. It's about sharing my gift. And when I don't really know, Karen, I said to her, okay, I'll wait till next year to come. So of course not think about the year went by and all that stuff. And I said, oh my goodness, we're going back to Maine. That was a fast year. Not thinking you should get busy with your lives and, not think of spirit communication or spirit manifestation. So I said to myself, I'm going to wait till I get to Maine to say something. In the meantime, I haven't, I did not do any drawing because, I was like, oh, I'm not going to do any art this, year. And so I took a year off. And when I got to Maine, I saw my friend, and I said to her, I go, I have something to ask you. Is there anyone I can ask about the property or anything like that here? And she said, sure. We can wait till the next day. And I said, all right, this is not a problem. So I, said, got busy with the fair and everything like that. So then I went to bed and I said good night and all that good stuff. It was about 5 o'clock in the morning. And then all of a sudden I woke up and I saw this little boy in the corner. And I said, oh my goodness. He was in an old fashioned chair, sitting back, like enjoying everything. Like, he enjoyed what was going on. And spirits get attached to their places, and I looked at him and I said, oh wow. And he came in so clear. I was able to give a description and everything. So I couldn't wait till after breakfast. So I saw my friend and I said to her, he said there was somebody I could see because I really need to see somebody. And she said, yes. So I said to her, thank you so much. And when I went over with her it was the lady that ran the place, and I said to her, I have a question for you. What's up with the river? And she said, I was telling her what I was. And she said, oh, you don't know? And I said, no. She said, spirit people would put the ashes of loved ones in the river, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And I said to myself, because this was like, a lot of spirit energy and spirit lights I'd see, because that's them not fully formed. It's the aura that they have. And so when she said that to me, I was like, I thanked her. And I said, that makes so much sense. And I said, it was really wonderful. There really wasn't any message for anyone, but they were just letting me know that they're at peace and they, wanted to have, be recognized, I guess, or something like that. So I went over and thanked them. And then I said to her, what about the little boy? I said, there was a little boy in my bedroom. He didn't come in my dream, but he manifested himself in full body. And so she said, a little boy passed away upstream. I said, oh my. And I thanked her so much for that validation of him, and he was just enjoying everything like he was a little kid, when he was here. And I was like sitting there saying, that's really interesting because, you feel bad when they die. And sometimes as a parent myself, you say, I'm supposed to go first. But sometimes, unfortunately, it doesn't always work out that way in life where, a child will get taken. And I just was like, I had a hard time like dealing with that when I first started developing as a medium and spirit children. I said to the Reverend, I said, "What happens to them?" She said they do meet up with somebody on the other side. I said, "That's so good to know. It makes me feel better." And if they don't, they aren't with anybody. Ask the guardian angels to come. That's what I was taught to do. The other thing I would like to share is that was one thing I would love to share was when I put the paper down, when you guys see me doodling here at the station, sometimes it'll be a quick sketch that will come on. And one time I did a quick sketch of a lady from the 1800s. So I said, all right. And I didn't draw for like about a year. My friend corrected me of what I should do with her face and have the her face shaped more oval, more like an egg shape, because that's how us humans have our faces shaped, and everything is a shape. But when she corrected it, she goes, "That's really cool, Karen." She said, "Who's that for?" I said, I have no clue. So I said to her, I don't know what to do. I said, you know what? I'm just going to put her away and not question it. My father told me a long time ago, it's a gift, accept it. I'm not crazy about your gift, but you said, it's a gift. So I said, okay. And I was very happy to hear that. So I did what my friend said. I, went home and I put her away. And then one time my friend called me and he said to me, would you like to go to Plymouth? And I said, yes, I'd love to go. It was just something we did for the day. And she said, it's a ghost adventure. I said, all right. I said to Frank, should I bring my drawing of the lady from the 1800s? He said, bring it along, Karen. And I said, okay. And our friend Andrew came too. And so I said, we got in the car. He got a real cool convertible. It was a nice summer day, and like, oh, yeah. So we got to Plymouth. We met the lady who was running the tour, and Frank said to me, show her the drawing you have. And I said, all right, I will show her the drawing I have. And I took it out, and I was doing readings for her because of energies I was feeling around. They were children. And I said to her, the little girl with the blonde hair, and she goes, I'll show you. I have a picture of her. I said, oh, wow, that's really cool. But she was all happy, playing like kids do, and everything like that. So I thought that was really wonderful, too. And she just liked, being where she was at. And so she said to me, Karen, I got something to show you. So I said, all right. And so let's go up to the old house. And I said to her, okay, I went inside. And she said, look on the wall and look at your drawing. I said, oh my. She had the old fashioned hat on and the old fashioned style clothes. And she had a cameo. I didn't draw that though. And I was like looking, going, oh my goodness. So I gave her the drawing as a gift, And so I said to her, thank you so much. Because she was one of the ones that, came back not as many times as some of the other spirits, but at least one other time, so enough for me to draw her. And I said I was very thankful, and we enjoyed the rest of the tour and the things that were going on. And there I go again. I um, I said to her thank you, and we enjoyed all the tour. So I was picking up all kinds of things, which was really kind of cool. And so it was like, I said to my friend, I said, that was really, really nice of her. And I thanked him for letting me come on the fun trip with him. And so we went back home and I dropped me off and I said, thank you very, very much, Frank, and thank you, Andrew. And we all went our separate ways. So it was really, really nice. So I had to learn during a reading, when I do readings for someone, is, I tell the older ones especially, like if you guys call and somebody's coming through, but you understand them, but you didn't know them that way, I tell the older ones to look, come in looking recognizable so your loved ones can understand who you are. And they said, all right. And I was like sitting there saying, oh, that's much better. And then the person could start understanding who it was. And so that's really nice to know. And I said to, we all like to look younger when we grow. It's not all of us. It depends on, what you have your own free will. But do pay attention because, it just never know. And, the traumas thing, when that does happen, it could trigger something to go off, and that way you look and you're like, okay, so what's wrong with me? And I just wanted to share that with you guys tonight too. And when I was started developing, I said to myself, I had to learn to close down from all this stuff. And I said to one of my friends, I said, how do you shut down? Because, sometimes it could be overwhelming, and I had to really learn to control. That's why when you guys see me with the necklace on, it means I'm open, right now. Sometimes they give me no choice. And I was like sitting there saying, "All right," and I, used to stop my foot actually, and one of the girls said to me in the development circle, "You didn't stomp your foot." I go, "It's the only thing that they would listen with me, anyways." Until I had to really learn how to control the energies that were coming through, and that was really nice to know. So I said, this started working for me. So I said, I stick with what works, and stuff like that. But you will all figure out, your own ways and to control what's going on with you. If you want to learn how to develop, and you do grow with it, you really do. So I just figured I want to share those things with you all at home, and don't and when you do call, I don't give out medical diagnosis. I don't do any of that stuff. That's for you to go to your doctor for. It's all positive stuff. So I don't, do anything negative or dark or anything like that. So I just thought I would fill you in on that part of it. So I'm just gonna get going with the sketch over here. And I'm gonna talk at the same time. And you hear me in a reading talking about signs and symbols. I'm going to talk about symbols a little bit. And roses. You're going to hear me mention roses because I see those out of my head, and they're very special to me. And the different colors have different meanings with the roses and the flowers. Like what I had interpreted with readings that I've had done is red ones mean death, pink ones mean happy birthday, white means congratulations, yellow means friendship, and it all depends on how you interpret the roses yourself, but that's how I interpret them. The other thing I'd like to talk about, I'm talking about signs and symbols, is when you smell something. It's perfume. Sometimes you can smell the cologne that they own. Like it is a special aftershave or something like that. You can you can smell it. You can smell it. It's your loved ones letting you know that they're there, or like what the with certain foods. I've smelled foods before. You can smell foods and different things like that. That's just your loved ones letting you know that we're around. And it's really nice to know. And those are just some little things I'd like to fill you in on with what to do. And just things you can keep your eye on for. This is who I have so far. I don't know if you can get a close up of her. Okay. Little boy is coming through on the paper. Thank you, Joe. And I'll continue. And like I said, the lines are open. If you want to call, feel free. And the calls are free. And if anybody understands, I don't keep the drawings for long because sometimes when people will understand who it is, And now he's turned into an older man. I This is hard when they do this with me. Wide neck. And like I said to you at the beginning, if you guys can think of anything you'd like me to talk about or discuss, as long as it's a positive. Yeah, the mustache. And remember, hopefully there'll be, if things do start to happen, there is somebody in your family you can go to. Very kind man, though. Had a big heart. Hi, Carla. Welcome to Wisdom from the Otherside.
Hi, Karen.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, there's an echo, but yes, I can hear you.
Hi, Ethel. How are you tonight?
Good. I was listening to your discussion and watching you draw, and I just was wondering if you have any connection with me as I'm talking to you.
Yes, I would be happy to connect with you, Ethel.
Is there anything I should ask or?
Just don't give me any information.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, if you understand. No, if you don't.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm gonna get going with you. And it can sometimes a reading could be general, or very, informational. It just depends on how strong your spirits are, your people are on the other side.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get going with you because I have a motherly vibration that's around you in spirit.
Yes.
Yes. And she's telling me what they do is they also share their memories before they get going with their description. And so it just depends on how they're coming in. But she's very gabby. When she was here.
Yes.
And she was very colorful with the words.
Yeah.
Yeah, not all the time, but when she was colorful, people listened to her.
Mm-hmm.
And she's saying to me, I wasn't very tall, if you can understand that.
Yep.
And and she was saying to me, I stood tall in other ways. You would understand that coming from your mom. And I know it's general information, but this is how the spirit works with me. She said she's not sick anymore.
That's good.
And you were wondering if she was still in pain.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Good.
Her pain is all gone. Who had the cancer, Ethel?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Who had the cancer that's over there?
Sorry, one more time. The cancer?
Somebody had cancer.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm still with your mom. Am I still with your mom?
No, not my mom.
Okay, but okay, I'm gonna get going with her and describe who she is. Your mom is there though. I'll just let you know that, and she's not praying anymore.
Good.
That would make sense.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I see some prayer books. They're all stacked up.
sorry, you see what?
I see prayer books.
Okay, they're all stacked up, yeah.
You can understand that?
Yes.
Okay, and and they're like they're still here. If you don't understand, find out.
Okay.
There's a woman that's with you, though, that has light brown hair, brown eyes, and had cancer. And she's like 5'6", 5'7".
Okay.
Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. She said she couldn't fight in the body she was in anymore.
She couldn't what?
No, she couldn't. She got really weak from her illness.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, because I have the woman that's around you that passed away from cancer.
I'm sorry, one more time?
There was a woman that was around you that passed away from cancer.
Yes.
Yeah, she's telling me to tell you she's not sick anymore.
Good.
And she lost a boatload of weight before she passed away.
Okay.
And then, but then she blew it up. She blowed it up a little bit.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's I feel like it's a cross between a couple different people, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna get one in particular. I'm gonna stick with the lady with the brown hair and brown eyes and who had the cancer.
Okay.
Because sometimes they'll come in jumbly like that. She's telling me to tell you, she's dressed really nice. She's got all her makeup on and everything.
Oh yeah.
She's ready for a night on the town.
Yep.
She'd make doing girls' night. That would make sense.
Yeah.
And I'm glad. Oh, and she doesn't have to worry about the music not being loud anymore. That would. Okay. I'm glad you can take that. She's just been wanting me to tell you, I'm not in pain anymore, and she's with your mom, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Okay, they're coming in together. Like that's why it was like that at first. And
okay.
Yeah, so I'm glad that's making sense. I have to wish you a happy birthday.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Somebody
in the family?
A couple months ago.
Yeah, that's okay. No, there's somebody in the family having a birthday now that's coming up.
I can't think of anybody right now.
All right, I'll just take it with you. Could be somebody over on the other side too. And I'm gonna give you a common name too with the M's I'm getting a Mary or a Margaret or something like that.
Yes.
Did that make sense to you?
Yes.
They're looking down. They're so happy with you. And you were thinking about them tonight.
Okay. Yeah.
And you miss having your friends around.
Yeah.
Especially the one that had passed from cancer.
Yeah.
And she's saying, I'm not sore anymore. And it's so, and thank you she's wanting to give somebody a message of thank you for letting me pass away and for dignity.
Okay.
Did that make sense?
Yeah.
Because somebody took care of her, and it was a lot of work.
Yeah.
And she said I wasn't always the best because she was frustrated too. Didn't like people fussing over her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And she doesn't have any more sweaters or blankets on.
Okay.
Does that make sense? This is what they do with me. They share their memories, And she said she saw somebody was reading to her.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I don't remember, but maybe I'll pass somebody in the
family. You can ask somebody in the family. It was okay if you weren't there to say goodbye.
Okay.
You needed to hear that, she's telling me.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, she said she misses my friendship so much. But I'm healthy again. I'm happy again. I can go outside and go to the beach. And she used to collect shells.
Yeah.
And she's there collecting shells. And somebody still has some of her shells.
Okay.
Just find out if you don't understand, all right? And
okay.
I had to give that. She said to me, she's telling me to tell you, thank you for the prayers, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm going to show you this man that I have on my paper.
Okay.
And they're fine. She said she treasured your friendship.
Okay.
I'm going to have Joe go close up with the drawing. This was the man that showed up. He's not done yet, but I had to.
Oh. Okay. The feed for the TV is not on. I can't see the picture right now.
Okay. And there's a man around you that had a massive heart attack when he passed away.
Yep.
He's around you tonight too.
Okay.
He just wanted to let you know. I don't know if you can understand the picture or not.
Yep.
Can you?
I can't see the picture.
Oh, okay. Well, if you watch a show, you know, if I have him here, if you can understand him, no. If not, that's okay.
Okay.
I feel a father figure that's around you too.
Yes.
And Dad's saluting you.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
He was a proud man.
Yes, he was.
And he's saying, she said, the family really misses me a lot, you know?
Yes.
And that would make sense. And he's like saying, but I'm doing good now.
Yes.
It's easier for me to move around too.
Yes.
He's saying, I'm just so glad. I just, you know, just got really hard for me. Like, you know how they are when they're getting ready to cross over. It's hard for everybody. You know what I'm saying? But he was like, he didn't like people fussing over him.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. I see someone with oxygen on.
Yes.
And they don't need it anymore.
Good.
And he said, I'm not suffering with that, and I can breathe so much easier now.
Good.
And Ethel, I'm gonna give this to you anyways. If you don't understand it, fine. If you do, I have an Anthony that's around you.
And sorry, who?
An Anthony.
An Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't ring a bell, but
okay, that's all right. If anyone at home understands an Anthony, feel free to call. I am, but you know, your mom is just like saying, I'm very proud of her too.
Thank you.
And there's somebody over there that's making things with their hands. They're very crafty. Can you understand that?
Yes, I think so.
Not a lot, but you know, just like pass the time.
Okay.
All right. And I just, you know, your dad's doing really good now. Oh, and he's having a good donut.
He's having what?
A donut. Donuts?
A donut.
You know, donuts. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And I see a smoker over there with you, too.
Yes.
Is this Dad?
A smoker?
Somebody like to smoke a cigar.
Okay.
I don't know if you can understand that or not.
No.
Okay, so I'm going to let him back. You guys are going to hear me at home saying back off. But your dad and your mom are together, and your girlfriend's doing really good, and she's very happy to have her hair back.
Good.
She lost a lot of it.
Yes.
And she said, I'm so glad. You know, women's hair is our treasure. And that bothered her most of all, you know?
Yes.
And she's saying, I'm glad my mouth isn't dry anymore, and I got to put some weight back on.
Yeah.
That would make a lot of sense. And she's going out dancing.
Oh, good.
Does that make sense to you?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I could find out, because when she was younger, she loved to dance. Or was your parents?
Yeah. My parents are here, but I'm thinking of it as like a mother figure.
Yeah, I had to give that to you, you know.
Mhm.
And they're saying to me, your message to you is, go out and have a good time. And your friend is actually she's in the old, you know, the older style cars.
She like to sell cars?
No, there was somebody that was driving a car, like you know, the old fashioned Mustangs with the hood goes down.
Yeah.
Can that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
Oh, good. Would the month of July have any significance to you?
Mother what?
Would the month of July? I'm going
Month
into
of
the seventh
July.
month.
I can't. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, because I wanted to give that to you either, and also the number 7.
Yeah.
I've seen a goal. I started a couple days. I see things ahead of time, so I have to ask them to wait, till I can do that. And your friend is breathing a lot easier too.
Okay.
And I'm seeing the number 7. But it's a gold 7.
The number 7, is it related to January 7th, maybe?
I said this, if you go back and watch the rerun, I don't want to give you any information, but if you the number 7, it could be a date, it could be a birthday, it could be that somebody passed away. When I just see it, I have to give it.
Okay.
If you can understand that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate the validation. Your mom is saying for you, you gotta lighten up.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
She said, she's too good of a person. She's getting caught up in everything that's around you. She said, just go out and, you have a big heart like her, she's saying.
Okay.
And she said, you don't give yourself enough credit.
Okay.
And I don't know if you have any questions, but that's who I have that's around you. Your friend is saying, I'm breathing so much easier. And your dad, it's like, I couldn't fight anymore.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
If that's making sense?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for sharing everything. I don't know if you have any questions for me.
I guess in general.
Huh?
When somebody crosses over, how do they communicate, or like does it take them time to get the ability to communicate?
Well, you know what? They find ways. Watch for lights blinking in your house.
Okay.
That's a one big one. And they come in your dreams. Dreams are real. Those are called visits.
Okay.
And I don't know if you've had that happen to you yet, but pay attention to those, because those are it's spirit gives us what we can handle. And those are just some of the things that you can look for. Is when they come and visit in your dreams, and they seem very real. Mm-hmm. And they can touch you. That's another way you can feel them. Like you feel like you're not alone in the room.
Yep.
You've had that happen before, huh?
I have.
Because that's called clairsentience. That's what I am. When you can feel the presence of the spirits in the people that have passed away, and they're not there, but they are there.
Okay.
Spirit gives us what we can handle.
Yeah.
And if you smell on a perfume, like I said earlier in the show, it's them letting you know that's them too.
Okay.
And on your mom is telling me to tell you to go out and have a good picnic for yourself.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Just go out. I see the old style red and white checkered blanket thingy there, and with the picnic basket, deviled eggs, and all that stuff. She's making me hungry. And that would make sense to you.
Yeah.
And I want to leave you with that. And, your message to you is stop listening to everybody else.
Okay.
You just, you have a good level-headed shoulder on you that you don't give yourself enough credit.
Yeah.
And that would make sense. And you needed to hear that from your father.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you really miss him. He worked a lot of hours when he was alive, when he was young.
Yeah.
And, and I see him with the older style cars, the older style Fords. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He said they don't make them like they used to either. And that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And he's just so happy. He just, they're all together. Nobody's alone.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for calling.
All right. Thanks. Have a good night.
You too. They can do that. They can be, general with the reading. they get the plunger. Sometimes I just share their memories because like I'm a clear sentience medium. When I feel everybody's presence around me and I feel their energies, just is different for all of us of where we're at with that development when we develop. And I want to thank Ethel for sharing her family with me. And they're all around you, by the way. And they're not around you 24/7, but they are not sick anymore. You needed to hear that, and I just wanted to give that to you. And I'm going to continue with my drawing. And they will share their memories because those were happy times that they can remember. And just so you know that. And I don't know if you could get a close up now, Joe. Thank you. Spirit will give you what you can handle. That's the one thing I was very happy about when I was, learning, and I'm still learning. I still consider myself a student, because there's always something different that you can learn. And I was like sitting there saying, "All right, that's what you want to do. That's how you want to, you know, how you want, how you present yourself to me. That's okay." And I just said to myself, I go, they can do that, and it's really wonderful because I'm like sitting here saying, all right, okay, so you came in my dream. And like I said to Ethel, those are really real, and pay attention because especially when they become a pattern, it'll be over and over and over again. It's really, nice. And then I ask for them what the message is in the dream, and then they will usually tell me. And I also I have a baby that's been around me in the studio too. I don't know if anybody at home could take a baby that passed away, but they were wondering if they were okay. And the baby's fine. The baby's not alone. They call them little angels, which is one thing I wanted to share with you. My interpretation. When I was pregnant before I had my daughter Michelle, I had a miscarriage. And I finally looked at miscarriages as, you know, maybe it wasn't my time yet to come into the world. As hard as it is, I just said I had to accept it, And then of course, 6 months later, there's Miss Michelle, who's probably using up all the ink in the studio. But she was like, okay, this is, why, and it was nice to know that they're there. They're not 24/7 there. They're, they're there. She likes sports. I'm going to try to put a hat on the best I can. And now that the weather's getting good, guys, go out and get some nice fresh air. It was nice outside today. And sometimes you're going to hear me, and I know I said this before, when people, our deceased loved ones come through like that, they're gonna come in bunches sometimes too. And that's when I, have to say, you gotta wait your turn. There he is. The other thing I want to talk about is prayer. Prayer really helps all of us. But it was, when you're on the other side and you first cross over, I asked a priest friend of mine, or the reverend too. She said, "Oh, those are very important because it helps us to learn and grow on the other side." And I'm a firm believer that we do live, we all have our own free will of our beliefs of what it's like over there. But I'm a firm believer if we do learn our life lessons, and prayers do help. I always said to my daughter Michelle, I believe it's like a little video camera when you cross over. You see your life go by you in like a second on a video camera. I'm going, oh boy. But I always say this: if you have a strong energy, you should have no trouble coming through. Ones with weaker ones will come through. It depends on what you believe with your beliefs, and I jack it up a little bit. But prayers are really important. I wanted to fill you guys in with that. I'm not saying sit there and, you have to, stop your lives or something like that, but, you guys know what I'm talking about. And before I forget, when we go get ready to get off, is I want to wish everybody a happy Easter and our Jewish friends a happy Hanukkah. Hey, had your lips back? I just gotta get better pencils, but these'll do. It's like the long mustache. I know they have a name for them, I just don't. There we go. Oh, you're all better. He liked sports. I still have an Anthony around me, too. But I want to thank Ethel for calling. There we go. And in case you're wondering about the stones on the table, they're just an energy thing with me. With different ones have different meanings. You can go to the nearest New Age store to check them out. I mean, I just like the energy that they give off and have them. This is like an amethyst right here, and this is a quartz. Just an energy thing. But that's why you see them out on the table like that. And I wanted to give our loved ones are gone but not forgotten. And just a thought away. I want to thank everybody for sharing. Thank you, Ethel, for calling. Just to let you guys know, we're going to be back on the 28th of April. So we'll be in the studio. And if you guys think of anything you want me to talk about, feel free to call the station to let them know.